In the fight game of old, to step foot into the octagon commands a level of respect for one's opponent. The only driving factor for victory, not hatred of an adversary, but an innate drive to be the greatest. But now, in its modern and commercialized form, mixed martial arts is a sport rife with those who evoke controversy, stir trouble. A far cry from the respect and discipline the fight game is founded on, all just to make another quick buck.
Bro, you think your dad beat the shit out of you? Your dad doesn't have shit on me.
Combining that innate championship drive of an elite fighter, inflated egos, and the trash-talking villain mentalities, the result is a crude amalgamation of negativity. Its final form, an iconic feud between two warriors.
I wish they would let me next door so I could spit in your face.
You know I would absolutely kill you if you ever did something like that,
You
right?
could never kill me.
Oh, I bet you I could.
Some born through bad blood and resentment, others through sheer competitive drive. For the spectators, it's entertainment regardless found. But for the losers of those duels, their misfortunes equally remembered, never to be forgotten. These are the iconic rivalries of the UFC. Alex Pereira and Israel Adesanya's feud is one of the few that seems more fitting in the grand tales of old, its chapters told through song or on the stage. For although between the two gladiators a level of resentment brewed, in truth their bouts across the various realms of combat sports helped elevate one another into better fighters in the cage and men outside of it. The perfect pairing, the yin to the other's yang. Success of their rivalry is largely in part due to the early seeds planted, one sprouting far before either man's success within the UFC, kickboxing the initial stage in which the two would face one another, the results of which catalyzing their feud years on.
应付对手的这个凶狠的 KO 能力。对，大家仔细看飞龙的这个躲闪的动作，但佩雷拉这个 KO 力量，飞龙拳是贴的比较好，这么好，我觉得是真的是非常难。
I was beating him.
I thought you won the first one.
I felt so too. That's, you know, the Chinese
the
judges.
kickbox.
Unanimous decision in the blue corner.
A decision by all accounts undeserved. It was a bout that should have gone the way of the Nigerian-born. Understandably slighted, the chip on Adesanya's shoulder would be his undoing in the following bout. Blinded by bloodthirst, and up on the cards come their rematch, Adesanya would lose focus if for just a moment, allowing Poatan's now patented left hook shot to capitalize.
I was besting him. Had him on skates. He was fucking, and then his spirit. You know what Jerry said about the whole juju thing? Like that's real.
左平都打到黑龙了。之前你们是不允许进入这个擂台边角，这是一场很大的逆转。正中下巴。
Por nocaute, o campeão, o vencedor, Alex.
A chapter seemingly closed. Adesanya on the brink of victory twice, yet finding himself on the losing end. The mixed martial arts realm now beckoned, and with it came the notoriety, fame and money that Alex, even with his victories, could only dream of. Carving his way into the UFC's fighting tapestry, Adesanya would summit the middleweight mountain and guard it repeatedly from those looking to do the very same. Drunk with power, Adesanya's ego would eventually be his downfall. In his eyes, he had gone further than Pereira ever did, who at the time was to his credit still finding success, albeit on the smaller stage of kickboxing. And though Israel didn't know it yet, a handful of his words spoken in a spontaneous interview would ignite the spark within Poatan, driven by competition to take everything Adesanya had and more.
He's gonna be at some pub, talking some shit about, I beat that guy one time, trying to get a dick sucked from a crack whore or some shit.
If Izzy just shut the fuck up, he would have stayed where he was. Even that thing he does when he's walking out and he does this will thing and he throws his combination, you know, like if that dude hits you with that, you're going to sleep.
He's got fucking freaky power.
Through the orchestrated plans of Dana White and Hunter Campbell, Alex Pereira found himself fast-tracked to a shot against the man he had once slain. Adesanya forced to face his demons, given a chance to exercise them, or let them haunt him once more.
Once he feels me, he's not going to try and shy away. Which you know is what I like. I like a guy who likes to fight because I love to fight.
Quando foi anunciado que eu ia lutar com ele e toda a equipe dele mudaram o discurso. Não queriam aceitar. E isso demonstra que eu mexi psicologicamente com a cabeça dele e de toda a equipe dele.
Talk all the you want, because trust me, they can't save you either when you're locked in there with me.
I'm here. I ain't going nowhere. Solid. Thank you, gentlemen.
Though the psychological edge no doubt helped tip the scales, Poatan's ability was not to be understated. The UFC brass and those in the know were well aware of his striking pedigree, and he lay, in truth, as the only man who could stand with the champion and find a potential victory.
He heard that left hook! He heard it back! Oh, and now a right! Adesanya's on one more! Two more! That'll do it!
He did it!
Poatan has done it!
He did it again!
Alex Pereira, the undisputed middleweight champion!
Oh my
I don't
goodness!
believe
It was the same tale of old. Adesanya on the brink of glory through both an early finish or a decision, and yet the intrinsic power within Poatan would clutch victory from the jaws of defeat, and in front of the masses, introduce their feud to the global stage. As is customary, the last Stylebender's reign would grant him an instant rematch, but it was a fight in which the belt was now secondary. To lose once more would mean that his middleweight legacy, only bested by Anderson Silva, would be forever tarnished by a man who crossed fighting realms just to prove a point.
Mas o Adesanya, ele nunca vai esquecer essas lutas. Aconteça o que aconteça, ele nunca vai esquecer. Então eu uso isso ao meu favor, mas o principal vai ser no sábado.
This talk, you guys want to hear me talk or you want to hear me fight?
Ele fez isso nas últimas 3 lutas. Ele falou a mesma coisa e não fez.
And what's going to happen this weekend is we're going to fight and see who the best man is at the end.
Adesanya's demeanor now spoke not of a champion burdened by the weight of expectations, but one freed by them. Losing the crown, and to his ultimate rival no less, would perhaps break lesser men. But Israel's mentality would allow him to convert that pain into an unbreakable resolve. A win was for himself, to right those wrongs from days gone by, and at UFC 287, he would finally get his chance.
Israel Adesanya just acknowledging his focus and the brevity of those 5 minutes. And Alex Pereira brewing with confidence after what he got done over those first 300 seconds.
I always say this, the shower is the most interesting place on the planet, I feel, because you have the element of water running over your body, stripped naked in your bare essentials. I can create a lot in there. I can make a lot of things happen. And one time after one of my showers, I just wrote this thing on my mirror because I just had this premonition, like, this is where I get it done. Like, there's no way.
Oh, jab to the body and a right hand up top.
Oh my goodness. Again, Pereira's so dangerous.
Oh! Counter right from Adesanya. Pereira down and out. Order restored. Adesanya has finally done it.
He got him back.
Israel Adesanya.
I hope every one of you can feel this level of happiness just one time in your life.
Demons exercised, but for the thrill of Adesanya's victory came the agony of the Brazilian's loss. Most would crumble in the wake of it, knocked out cold on the biggest stage of them all. But just like the man who had just slain him, Poatan would use it as an opportunity to learn rather than grieve. A bout that would leave both men better for it, and at least for now, their rivalry was settled through that last punch. The last Stylebender finally granted that sweet victory he always knew was within reach. And for Alex, no real stock lost. Instead, a new goal gained to become one of the sport's all-time greats. The rivalry between the Notorious and the Diamond is one forged and concluded through genuine disdain and bad blood. And in defense of the latter, few in the fighting realm that crossed the Irishman's ascendancy were ever in his good books. Conor McGregor, amidst his rise, ushered in a fighting personality unseen at this level. Brash, bold, cold and calculating. Everything Poirier was not.
His shots are basic, and I believe this is where it comes to an end. You know, when he walks into something sharp off me, he's going to hit the canvas hard. And that will be that.
As Conor's stock gathered momentum, they would meet at UFC 178, a bout in many eyes regarded as the Irishman's first true test. But to him, it was nothing more than a stepping stone, and he would treat his opponent as such.
You're ready to fall.
Look, don't get me wrong, I like the kid. He's a quiet little hillbilly from the back arse of nowhere. I'm sure he grew up in a circus or a fair. You know, he's a nice little kid. You know, his cousin's probably named Cletus or something. I don't know. He's a nice kid, but his chin is going to be cracked, and it's going to be cracked early.
That complete and utter disregard for Poirier's ability in UFC tenure had struck all of the wrong chords. This was not the Diamond we now know, tempered and measured from years of war. Here he lay as a young, hungry contender, perhaps too eager to prove the doubters wrong. Conor's mental exchanges were working, as they had on so many, with Dustin's usual fighting abilities now clouded by rage and bloodthirst.
Yeah, you ain't shit. What's up?
That's good.
What's up? Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, we'll see.
Man, they have been on each other's nerves for weeks. This fight between Poirier and McGregor. Here we go!
Another nice leg kick by Poirier. He's so loose.
Yeah.
Even, like a high-profile fight like this.
Having a conversation, looking to finish the fight.
That's it.
It is all over, just like that.
Wow.
That mental lapse born from the months of torment, combined with Conor's patented precision, would see a swift end for the Louisiana-born. And for a time, that would be that. This rivalry lay dormant as both men honed their craft, charted their own courses, both of which peaking with gold around the waists. But as the dust settled and new kings rose their way to glory, the stars would align for them to face off 7 years on from that first battle. No longer two hungry prospects, but aged warriors, familiar with the pitfalls of the showmanship era and the intricacies that came with it. Their duel at UFC 257 was founded on now respect for one another's character and ability, with McGregor quick to show his approval.
After that loss, many years ago, he rose up, became champion. He's given so much back. I'm honored to share this octagon with this man. I know we have this competitive fire, and it's still there. There's still that in us, There's no denying that. We have a clash, and it's going to be a good firework-filled bout.
A jarring mentality shift from the days of old. Conor was the man who pushed every moral boundary at his peak, yet now showed to be the direct opposite. A tactical mask maybe, an attempt to mentally jar his adversary, or simply just a new level of maturity reached through years of battle. Regardless, just like every bout before, both men's fate would be decided upon Buffer bellowing those famous words.
He's going forward. In green, immediately takes the center of the octagon and lands a left hand.
Massive by Poirier to go and get a takedown.
There's a solid calf kick there from Poirier.
Because Dustin Poirier
another calf
loves
kick.
to fight.
But Conor's pressuring him here. Nice shots.
That's very important for the game of Dustin Poirier. A lot of kicks. Dustin Poirier.
Oh, big left from Poirier. Now a right hand.
The man who once held an aura of immortality, untouchable as the face of the fight game, beaten to a pulp inside an empty arena. A visceral, unforgiving finish that served as a reminder to all that no one was safe. And yet Conor would remain amicable in the moment after, just as he did before.
I didn't adjust, and that's it. Fair play to Dustin, very happy for him. The competitive fire is still in me, and like I said, I will regroup and adjust and come back. Dustin, you're a warrior. You've got passion, courage, everything. It takes a lot of courage to get in against a man that, after the
Your coach is right. I can't forget, but I can't forgive myself, and I have.
I'm honoured to share the octagon, brother, and we will do it again, all right? Good man. Thank you so much, and
Safe
congratulations. Enjoy everything, right, brother?
The best of you and your family.
Guys. Thank you.
One on the way.
Though a long time between their duels, their stat books did show them as one apiece, and the lockdown pay-per-view sales suggested that a third fight was a logical decision, both financially and for the fans. But in the wake of that loss, Conor would bring out the Irishman of old, or at the very least attempt to. What made the mythical motivated McGregor so feared was that every word he said with conviction and manifested into reality. But this was no longer that man, and any crude attempts at mental warfare were shut down by the Diamond without a second thought.
You're getting walked like a dog in that octagon on Saturday night. I'm going to go through his head, put holes in them and take it off its shoulders. That's the goal here. So it's on now. Saturday night he's getting walked around that octagon like a dog and put to sleep.
No, it's just business. I see a man here.
I see a corpse.
Gets crazy.
I see a dead body.
Does he get knocked the out? Not McGregor fast, McGregor sleep.
The truth was, in waging war with those scathing remarks, his stock was faltering, and everyone except Conor knew it. But the beauty, of course, is that in this game, all the words mean naught when the cage door is shut and the lights beam down.
He was putting his fingers in my glove and pulling me down to throw the up kicks. I was trying to let Herb know that this guy's a dirtbag, man. Karma's not a he's a mirror. And, this guy's said the wrong and I've been busting and sometimes these things happen. And, I beat the guy.
I was boxing the bleeding head off him, kicking the bleeding leg off him. Usual dive to close the distance. This is not over. If we have to take this outside with him, it's all outside. We don't give a bollocks.
Conor's injury was an unfortunate open-ended conclusion to a trilogy marred with ups and downs. But for that very reason, it remained immortalized in the history books, spanning multiple years between two men who had seen both sides of the UFC's coin. It's a feud that still now has growing animosity within. Though both men now lay at the tail end of their fighting careers, Alexander Volkanovski and Max Blessed Holloway once shared the featherweight stage as two legendary kings, far above the contenders below them in terms of fighting ability. A rivalry forged not through the tiresome format of verbal sparring and growing animosity, instead solely the desire to be the greatest and triumph over the other man in the process. UFC 245 was the first spark that unknowingly ignited this legendary feud, with the Hawaiian native at the time not just laying claim to the featherweight strap, but cemented as one of the company and sport's biggest stars in a post-McGregor era.
He's the baddest motherfucker. I think he's the best 145er ever.
Max Holloway knocks down Jose Aldo. Max Holloway!
Heralded as a current great and a future legend, Max Holloway was in truth the complete fighting package. A devastating volume puncher with an oppressive pace to break opponents, and an infectious personality to turn those indifferent into fans.
Everything the guy did, I did better. He's on what, 6-fight win streak? I got 12. He beat a champion, I beat 2. And I beat one of them twice. You know, so at the end of the day, the Blessed Express is going around in a circle. We laughing you, bro.
In stark contrast, Alexander Volkanovski was, despite his ranking and fighting pedigree, regarded as nothing more than a short stop for the Blessed Express. A lack of finishes and outgoing personality had hardly helped his case, and marked him in many ways as an antithesis to everything Holloway was. But what could not be denied was his technical ability, even if those spearheading the champion's reign didn't want to admit it.
Good luck tomorrow, you too.
How about the Vegas pop for Max Holloway? He has built this fan base organically, right? Just being himself inside and outside the octagon.
Watching, you can always tell he's about to explode.
Another nice low kick by Volkanovski. Good left hand. There's another good low kick. Volkanovski's got real power for him.
Nice combination from Volkanovski. Not out of the realm of possibility that Holloway is down 3-0.
You've seen skill at the highest level in this fight from both guys.
The winner by unanimous decision and new undisputed UFC featherweight champion of the world.
Not an explosive meeting by any means, but Volkanovski had broken the MMA timeline and snatched the belt from a man many considered unstoppable. A close duel, but a decisive and clear one in favor of the Australian. The same could not be said, however, for their inevitable rematch. Holloway's extensive reign of 3 title defenses would give him the much-needed leverage to earn an instant title shot, but the dynamic had no doubt shifted. That aura of immortality and long-standing winning streak now snapped. Alex now donned the black and gold, and the mental boons that came with such a title. A duel anticipated at 251, but one not witnessed by a packed stadium of 20,000 strong. COVID-19 had relegated these warriors to an empty arena at Fight Island, with those in their millions watching doing so from home. A foreign scenario, but for both men the mission remained the same: to orchestrate the perfect game plan and find victory inside of the cage.
Alexander Volkanovski trying to make it 2-0 in his series with Max Holloway.
Both guys fighting like champions, but I'd be lying if I didn't say Holloway's almost up 3 rounds here.
And Max Holloway certainly believes he has done enough to begin a second era as the UFC featherweight champion.
And still the undisputed
A duel to this day that remains highly contested. The record books lay forever with Alex as the victor. Holloway had come out rejuvenated, a different warrior, and yet in the watchful eyes of those 3 cage side, it wasn't enough.
But then first 2 rounds again, I'm a realist. I'll tell you, I believe that he started off well. But I come back from the 3rd onwards. Again, I showed what champions are made of. This sport isn't easy. And sometimes you're going to be put in these positions, and only certain champions can dig deep like I did. And, again, I'm proud that I dug deep and got the job done and bring this back home to Australia and to my family.
To have 2 victories over another in most circumstances would extinguish any possibility of a 3rd duel. But through sheer determination and drive, Holloway would claw his way back to that summit and make himself once more undeniable. By this point at UFC 276, Volkanovski had in many people's eyes surpassed Max's featherweight legacy. It was a trilogy bout that now meant more than just the belt. Whoever the victor would be cemented as the greater gladiator in the history books and opinions of many.
You guys gonna find out Saturday night. This guy talking about a 3-peat or something, you know? This guy don't even got 3 highlights in the UFC.
Hey, you can use them as much as you want. Saturday night, it ends for you. That's
Saturday
it.
night we get to find out.
2-0, baby.
Saturday night,
remember that. 2-0.
Let's go.
Bottom line, he stung him with that left hand and a right.
Oh!
Nasty right hand.
Yep, slip and rip with the right hand for Volkanovski. Coming up on a minute to go, round 3.
Man, that is a nasty cut.
Well, Max Holloway was game as hell, but the champion Alexander Volkanovski with a signature performance tonight.
For the winner by unanimous decision, and still Volkanovski!
No knockdowns, no close submission attempts, and yet Alexander's performance that night was cemented as one of the greats. A golf in quality so vast, he had done to Max what Max had done to many, beaten him from pillar to post. And though this victory wasn't close, and Holloway had left the cage that night a bloody sullen mess, the 3 chapters of this trilogy would be forever marked as some of the greatest showcases of mixed martial arts we as fans could ever witness.